Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by Good Marketing and Wagoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
Vulnerable populations suffer in a variety of ways. One is having a lack of access to financial services, either lacking transportation or awareness that the services even exist. Here to discuss a new mobile tax service provided by the United Way of South Central Michigan is their Senior Director of Community Impact and Programs, Mrs. Bethany Stutzman. And we also have Quill Stellaris with us here today to talk specifically about the new bus. So thank you very much for coming, Bethany and Quill.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you.
So, Bethany, let's start with you. Start by sharing just what services the United Way generally provides. We're going to talk about tax services mostly, but what's the depth and breadth of all that you do, and what geography do you specifically service?
Yeah, so United Way of South Central Michigan, we're a 6-county region. So we serve the capital area, Clinton, Eaton, Ingham counties, and then Kalamazoo, Calhoun, and Jackson counties as well. And we really do, depending on the part of our region, offer different services. And so we're going to get a little bit later into the VITA program. We offer that in the capital area, Kalamazoo, Shiawassee County as well.
Okay.
But a couple of other things that we offer here in the Lansing area specifically, the College Access Network, the Capital Area College Access Network, is actually a community collaborative in the capital area focused on having students be college and career ready. So supports in place like FAFSA, college applications, those sorts of things, so students are ready to go. Another program we operate, and this is actually across the entire state of Michigan, so it's the only program we offer across the whole state, is utility assistance. So we have the Program Assistance Center, and we just do a large volume of utility assistance. Our application is available online. You can apply online or by phone. And so that's really another great service for the entire state of Michigan that we offer.
Got it. Okay. And just for those listening outside of the counties that you were just mentioning, I think United Way is a familiar enough brand that the world knows that they exist, and they can contact the United Way that is in their community if they're listening in Traverse City or Grand Rapids or Detroit or wherever, right?
Yeah, so they sure can, though I will say that United Ways do different things in different places.
Right, based on the needs of the community.
Exactly. So
yeah.
I think what we're known for is raising money in the community and then granting that money back out to different nonprofit organizations funding services.
Right.
And we do that in our full region, and that happens across United Ways across the state of Michigan as well. As far as some of the services that we're talking about today, 211 is the best place to call to find out what's offered locally and where to go. Because in some communities it's offered by a United Way, or maybe a different community, a community action agency.
Right.
Those pieces really do vary. And so 211 is always the best place to call, information and referral, to understand the best places to go in your community.
And I really want to drive that home. So I remember when 211, I've been a United Way guy for a long, long time. And so the 211, I remember when that was getting invented, basically.
Yeah.
But so unlike 911, I mean, you don't need to be in peril. Like a 911 emergency. 211 is really just a quick guide to, I'm hungry, I need shelter, I need clothing, I need help with career, whatever, right? It's basically just I'm having this problem, help point me in the right direction, whether it's a United Way specific agency or another affiliate community services provider that can help you out. So
you did a really good job of explaining that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
fine,
information and referral services for like any health and human service need in the community. Right. 211 is your place to call. It's available online as well. So there's 7 different 211 call centers across the state of Michigan, but you can call 211 anywhere, reach your local call center. They've got a database that they keep updated on a regular basis with all the resources available.
Right. So they'll ask you, where are you and what is the problem you're experiencing? And then they can point you in the right direction. Just wonderful.
Yep, and they can often also honestly provide additional services maybe beyond. So maybe you're in need of food assistance, but when you call 211 and they ask you a few questions, you found out, hey, you might actually also benefit from utility assistance, and here's some places to go. So it's sort of a real wraparound approach.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay. And so on my intro, I talked about the vulnerable communities sometimes are victims to not knowing or being able to get to the services that they need. Mm-hmm. I threw that in there, and I assume that that's accurate. But I mean, can you speak to that for a sec? Is that something that is a hardship? It's harder to be poor,
It is. And actually, we have a whole framework in which we talk about that, and it's called ALICE. So ALICE is an acronym for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. So folks within the state of Michigan, really, there's hundreds of thousands of households that are ALICE families.
Yep.
Here in the capital area, over 76,000 households. But that really is sort of the framework that we use to talk about the folks that we serve. And whether it's through our programming, whether it's through programs that we fund in the community, we're always looking at it from those folks in poverty and those folks in that ALICE threshold where, maybe they're getting some assistance, maybe they're working a job, maybe they're working multiple jobs, but they're still not making enough to meet their needs, to pay their bills. And so really all of the services we offer, VITA, the utility assistance, all of it is within the framework of serving Michigan's most vulnerable populations.
Just trying to keep them from hanging on. They're one break job away.
Exactly.
Just from making tough choices of, do I get food or do I turn on the heat or do I, thank you for the work that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And I know taxes aren't exactly a sexy topic, but we're going to talk about that here in a second. But before we do, I want to give a nod to our friends at Good Marketing. Here at Michigan Reimagined, we tell stories of passionate Michiganders doing great things across the state. Today's podcast sponsor, Good Marketing, helps organizations tell those stories in a powerful and measurable way. As behavior change accelerators, Good partners with Michigan-driven clients to inspire action, shift mindsets, and strengthen communities. From advancing affordable housing to protecting natural resources to expanding education and workforce opportunities, their work moves Michigan forward. See how they're helping shape Michigan's future at goodmarketing.com. That's GUD marketing.com. So I want to get into taxes, like I said before I ran into that. Taxes are something nobody likes to do, but it's really important. And I learned this, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you come in and tell the story. First of all, we'll talk about the bus, which I'll let you, Quill, discuss more specifically. But why is it important that everyone do their taxes, particularly people maybe that don't have all the means that they would like to have?
Absolutely. There's a bunch of different reasons that it's really important to do your taxes. Obviously, you want to stay on track with the IRS. If you owe money, you want to know how much you owe and you want to be able to pay it. You want to claim credits so that you can afford to live in the state of Michigan. We have credits for property taxes that can be claimed by people who own and by people who rent. So that's a huge one that helps people manage cost of living in their home. And then we also have a credit in the state of Michigan that helps people afford to heat their home. And so those are two very essential things that not a lot of people know about. And so I will put together people's taxes after they've been doing them, by themselves for years, and they'll have a way bigger refund than they're used to, and they'll realize that they've been missing out on this money all the time. And so I think that's a huge part of it, is making sure that people are aware and can access all of the credits that they qualify for, because it's money that you're just leaving if you're not doing that. And then there's also, it provides a level of protection from things like fraud. So if you file your tax return every year, even if you don't have, a huge reason to file it, you can still protect yourself from being the victim of tax fraud by closing off your Social Security number when you file every single year. And that's also a very helpful thing that a lot of people come to us for when they come to get their taxes done.
Got it. Okay. And we've nibbled a little bit at VITA. So what is that? What is VITA? Because that's a program that's been around for a period of time, and the bus is new, which is the sexy story that we're going to talk about in a sec. But VITA, to your point, is a place where people can go to get their taxes done. Talk about what it is, where they go, and why that's important.
So VITA stands for Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. Basically what it is we coordinate a team of volunteer tax preparers, folks that come in, learn how to do taxes, certify with the IRS every year, and then they will do your taxes for free, answer questions, stuff like that. So there's really a lot of different ways that you can access those services. There's options that you can do from home. You can come in with a 2-on-1 scheduled appointment like Bethany was talking about, or you can show up for an appointment anywhere that you see the bus, which is a fun and exciting new option.
And we'll talk about that. So volunteer. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense, right? So if you need to get your taxes done and you don't have disposable income, it's logical to say, I'm not going to go. I mean, and I don't want to be a bit disparate. I'm not going to go to a CPA firm. I'm worried about going to even like an H&R Block, and I'm not speaking disparagingly, or Simplified Tax or any of these companies. I mean, these are all professional services provider that charge a fee for the work that they are getting done. And so if you're a person who, it's daunting to say, I need to do my taxes, I can't do them myself, and I don't have any money to pay a third-party service provider. So I guess I'm just not going to do them. And that happens regularly, right?
Yes,
and
it happens all the time.
And so VITA has been created that's a United Way program directly, right? You guys...
We do operate. There are VITA programs across the state and across the country,
so
but yes, we operate it here in the capital area.
Got it.
Yep, in Kalamazoo County as well.
And these are people that have passed some sort of, sniff test by the IRS to make sure that they're allowed to do this.
Absolutely.
But they do this for free and do your taxes for you. That's fantastic services. And they can... Now, you mentioned 211. You can call to figure out how that works and just ask for that service specifically. But could they go online and learn more about VITA and schedule an appointment to get it done?
Yes. So online scheduling is all for our different mobile unit sites, and that would be at vitataxprep.org. So that's VITA taxprep.org.
Perfect. Okay. And then I've alluded to this bus, which I had a good chance to go take a look at it from the outside and the inside. And that's new. And do other United Way affiliates around the state have that, or is that a South? Okay, that's a South Central Michigan.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about next is kind of a mid and southwest Michigan, South Central Michigan specific. But what is it? It's really cool, but I want you to tell the story.
It is really cool. Well, I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
But
you get to drive it.
I do get to drive it.
I wouldn't want to drive it. It's big.
It is. It's very big, but I do think it's easier to park than my car. But that's not really relevant.
I don't know about that, Quill.
It's got cameras.
Right there you go.
But basically, it's a big, colorful bus that we can set up outside different partnering organizations and like key locations in the community with free tax prep mobile unit on the side in big letters. So if you see it, you'll know it.
Okay.
But we set up at different community organizations, libraries, stuff like that. And we offer services to people in the community at places that they're already going to be, to basically make free tax prep as accessible as it possibly could be.
Got it. So it's basically a couple of cubicles in a vehicle. So it's a mobile office to actually do the work, right?
Yes.
So you're not using that to get you there to go into a building and do tax prep. They're actually doing the tax prep in this kind of an RV, right? So, and it's got printers and it's got desktops and it's got computers and it's pretty kick-it.
Three separate stations for people to get their taxes done. So we can serve 3 people, 3 households at the same time.
Right on.
3 households at a time. And we also have a wheelchair accessible station. So just about anyone can come on and get their taxes done. We've helped all sorts of people with all sorts of needs there, which I think is also really, really important when you're trying to improve accessibility of your program.
Right. Yeah. Meet them where they are. That's fantastic. Well, another gentleman who likes to meet you where you are is a guy I know by the name of Kirk Bryrens, and he runs the State Farm Insurance Agency in Okemos, Michigan. Today's podcast is sponsored by our good friends at the Kirk Bryrens State Farm Agency. Their mission is to put the customer first when helping them plan for the risks of everyday life, to prepare for the unexpected, and to realize their financial goals. Kirk and his team build value and confidence in your auto, home, life, health, business insurance, and financial service needs. Kirk is always looking for opportunities to help customers in mid-Michigan and around the country. Everyone has insurance needs, and you do well by contacting Kirk Bryrens State Farm Agency and hear what their experts have to say. You can get in touch with them by calling 517-349-3830 or look them up at sfbyrens, that's BYRENS.com. You will not regret it. So the bus, I talk about getting to where people are. So first of all, you have people, everyone needs to get their taxes done. You end up drive to a place and submit a bunch of paperwork and all that kind of stuff. If you don't have that, you can go and schedule with VITA and go to a brick and mortar place and schedule to get that done. If you have trouble getting there, and I just saw 3 or 4 catabuses just drive by, we've got decent public transportation. But at the end of the day, you got to meet people where they are. And this mobile tax unit is exactly that. It goes straight into the communities that need these services. So do people, if they see it, can they kind of go up and knock and see whether you got any vacant time slots? Or is this we're going to be at this address for the day and those time slots fill up? Or how does that work, scheduling?
So scheduling does fill up. Different locations have more people who will just kind of pop in and say, hey, actually, I have a tax question. I want to get my taxes done. Depending on how much foot traffic a place gets, we'll actually set aside more time to make sure that if people just pop on, they can still access services. Slots do fill up, but even if they are full, you can still pop on, ask a quick question, and get scheduled for an appointment another day.
Got it. And I would imagine in the scheduling process, you must need to let them know what they should bring with them.
Yes, absolutely.
Just as a quick crash course, what kinds of things should people be prepared to have with them when they have one of these appointments?
So the essentials that I tell absolutely everyone to bring, I mean, obviously everyone's tax situation is different, but the essentials are your social security card, your ID, and then any like income tax documents. So like your W-2s, 1099s, stuff like that.
Got it. Pay stubs?
Pay stubs are not usually necessary if you have like income reported from your job on another form. So like really it's like the tax forms that are the most important. A lot of other things are not necessary, but I would rather people be over-prepared than under-prepared.
Right. And there's information that they can get by calling you and scheduling the appointment.
Absolutely.
It'll tell you what you need to know. Got it. So let's talk about the impact. So I guess from hopefully one of you maybe has some statistics, but for VITA, like how many tax preparations does VITA do in a year over the course of a season? The VITA side.
All of VITA?
In your South Central Michigan.
I don't even know if I can pull that number off the top of my head. I'd be happy to get it to you, but I don't have
fine.
it.
Is it hundreds, would you say? I mean,
it's thousands.
Hundreds just on the bus, but it's thousands for the whole program.
Yeah.
Got it.
Talking about somewhere between $700,000 and $800,000 being brought back, or excuse me, several $100,000 being saved in just tax prep fees.
Okay, got it. Yeah,
so
makes
people
sense.
aren't having to pay those fees when they come and see us. And Quill can talk a little bit about income qualifications later as well. And then we're talking about millions of dollars actually in tax returns being brought back within United Way of South Central Michigan's region.
And that otherwise would have just sat because there's no file.
Yes, exactly. I would say, and Quill, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the vast majority of clients we see in the VITA program get returns, often qualify for various tax credits. And so generally speaking, when we're working with folks, generally speaking, they're walking away with a return. And if they're in one of these situations that Quill was talking about, where maybe they haven't filed for multiple years and we can go back multiple years, we're talking about potentially bigger returns as well.
Yeah. I remember I had a client who hadn't filed for years, and there were credits that had just been sitting unclaimed for those years. And I remember filing them, and every single year they had a credit of like over $1,000, like $1,500 this year, $1,600 the next. And every single year they started clapping. They were so excited that they got this big refund.
Wow. But that is a life-changing sum of money.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just been sitting there.
Yeah, so you're talking about maybe being able to pay off debt, maybe being able to fix your car or get transportation if you don't have it, catching up on bills. So I think we often hear positive stories from people when they've got some of these bigger returns of, I have this chunk, I would never have been able to do this thing, but now I can.
Unbelievable. That's fantastic. So now, you don't just drive the bus? So you get to do the tax preparation too?
I do the taxes and the driving. I sometimes I'm a one-man show, so it's very exciting. I really love sitting down with people and answering questions, helping make taxes less scary. I like to say the taxes won't bite.
Right. And then, but in the van, you say you have 3 stations. So do you bring along a couple of the volunteers that are just scheduled for that day and are willing to go into the communities and get that done? And you just have people lined up and they come through and get it done. That's unbelievable. Now, you talked about income qualification, or what does it take to have people who earn the right to be able to use your services versus people you maybe don't want to have use your services to save it for other folks?
So the biggest thing is that we generally serve people who are under $69,000 a year in household income. So that's like you and your spouse generally.
Right. Okay.
Combined, if you make less than $69,000, we can serve you with our tax prep services. There's a few other like wonky little nitpicky ones that the IRS requires us to not do because it's like a limited certification that our volunteers are under.
Yeah, sure. Yep. If it gets too complicated, they want you to go to.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Exactly.
I get it. Got it. All right. So, and they can learn what those qualifications are and make sure that they are, able to use your services through either 211 or remind me of the website again?
vitataxprep.org.
Got it. That's easy to remember. Vitataxprep.org.
Try to make it easy.
Right. And now, do you go down to Calhoun County? And so Calhoun County is Battle Creek, basically, right? And then Kalamazoo, or is the unit basically kind of the mid-Michigan Lansing area? Or it's the first season?
It's the second season.
The second season. Okay, second season, right? I was recording this in early December of 2025. So you went through the last tax
Yes,
prep
we've been
season
through
with it
Quill. I
once.
should say Quill. I can't take credit for it. Quill's been through a season.
Got it. Okay. What did you learn? What were some of the unexpected, didn't think this was going to happen?
I mean, I think
Sorry.
yeah, weather was a big thing, learning to drive it in the weather. But I would also say just like you find all of the tiny little barriers that would be insignificant for other people, but are huge for more vulnerable populations, like you were talking about earlier. Like I did some taxes for a refugee who was missing a form because they didn't know they needed to keep it. Or, folks who were previously incarcerated who like didn't have access to all of their information for several years, and now they're back out and they're trying to get all their documents again. Stuff like that. Figuring out what the workarounds are for those and figuring out how to make as few barriers as possible for people who are trying to file their taxes was probably one of the biggest things I learned personally from running the bus. Is there's just so many things that can complicate people's taxes.
Right.
When it's universal for everyone, there's always going to be challenges.
So when you have appointments and people come through, there's got to be a decent percentage of people you get started with. You can, I'm sure, save as if they're like, okay, you've got 9 of the 10 documents that we need. This one's missing, or you need to go find it, or whatever. Will people leave without their prep work done and then schedule another appointment later once they have that last piece, and then you put a bow on it and get it sent off?
Yes. So we'll generally say, like, if we were able to do, 90% of your return, just pop back in with the rest of your forms.
Okay.
We'll finish it. We'll get it signed. We'll get it sent off. It really depends on, there are some things that we're not allowed to start your return if you're missing them, like your social security card and stuff like that. But the big thing is, like, we will do as much as we can, come back, and we'll make it work later.
Makes a lot of sense. And so how often are you out and about? Is this a Monday through Friday? Is it 7 days a week?
It's like 5 or 6 days a week. Generally, it's always Monday through Friday. Sometimes we'll have an odd weekend day. Sometimes we'll have evenings. It really depends on where we're going, when our partners need us, stuff like that. So like one of our partners is the Allen Farmers Market here in Lansing.
Yeah, sure.
That's always in the evening because that's when the farmers market runs.
Right.
Stuff like that.
And then we do appointments right during tax season, right? So that's the core of it. So end of January through April. And then Quill is still out. We still do taxes after the official filing day has passed all the way through September 30th. So Quill is out maybe on a less regular basis after we get through the core of tax season.
Makes sense, right? And will that be driven by requests for appointments?
It's partially driven by need, but it's also partially driven by knowing that we need to like sort of boost awareness for credits like the home heating credit in the community. So we'll take the bus over to places where maybe more folks would need a home heating credit. That's a really big one for a lot of seniors, people on things like Social Security or SSI.
Yep.
So we actually took the bus over to a bunch of senior housing complexes over the summer, just so that people could be aware, ask questions, and file that home heating credit if they needed.
Got it. Fascinating. Well, I mean, I think we covered probably what the public needs to know, but are there any answers you want to give to questions I haven't asked? Anything else?
Volunteers.
Yes.
Oh,
The need
right,
for volunteers.
I would love to talk about volunteers because volunteers are my favorite people in the whole world.
Yes.
Our volunteers are obviously the heart of our program. They're
Yep.
like our main tax preparers. We have volunteers checking people in for appointments, all sorts of things like that. If anyone is interested in volunteering, you don't have to have tax experience. I do this job and I studied art in school. So I think
Yep.
anyone can do it. If
We will put you through the training.
Yes.
Yes.
If
Right.
you're willing to learn, we're willing to teach you. And I just hope I get to see everyone listening out in the community during tax season, whether you want to volunteer, you need help getting your taxes done. If you see the bus, please feel free to come and knock on the door, say hi. I will be there.
Right on. That's fantastic. So the volunteerism, that is obviously a really big deal. So I just want to reemphasize that. You don't need tax experience.
No.
They will give you training that gives you what you need in order to be qualified to do that. And you probably need volunteers that aren't specifically the tax preparers, right? Volunteer.
We do.
I would imagine United Way has places for volunteers of all kinds to do so.
Absolutely.
Is there a special place where volunteers can go learn more?
Absolutely. So there is a volunteer tab on vitataxprep.org. So that's
Got it.
VITA taxprep.org. And just click on volunteer in our main menu. It'll take you to the link to sign up and all that good stuff. And then we'll take over from there and get you trained and ready to go for tax season.
Fantastic. And you got to at least Google image this vehicle. It's fantastic.
Yes,
It's
for sure.
Awesome. Well, we've been speaking with Bethany Stutzman and Quill Stellaris.
Stellaris.
Sorry. From the United Way of South Central Michigan, talking about their VITA and mobile tax bus to help our community get their taxes and get these returns back. I mean, the amount of financial impact is staggering. So I applaud your work. Hopefully there will be a way for you to get a second bus or third or fourth and really go touch them all. So thank you so much for joining me here today to tell your story. It's an important one.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Absolutely. And I'd love to give a final shout out to all of our sponsors. We've got Wagoner Financial, Good Marketing, Triterra Environmental, Keller Williams Advantage and Team, Michigan Rise, Kirk Byron State Farm Insurance, and the attorneys at Foster Swift. All fantastic people worth the call. And if you found the show as a one-off, I want to remind you to follow and subscribe to Michigan Reimagined on YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere you find your podcasts. This is Chris Buck signing off for Michigan Reimagined.